Good evening, Vice Mayor and the council members. My name is Lin Wang. I'm a nurse at Long Beach Community for over 6 years. We want to let all council members know that we have a struggle at Long Beach Community Hospital. I personally joined Community Hospital after working with several nurses who personally reopened Community Hospital. I mean, they personally scrubbed the floors, pushed the gurneys, trying to get the hospital reopened. And I joined them 6 years ago. And due to financial stress, we all equally took 3% pay deduction. Sorry, I'm getting tired. And in order to continue to serve the community of Long Beach, because we all agree that we need a hospital there. And with council's approval, Memorial Care took over. And since then, there has been rapidly changes that demoralize the nursing staff at Community Hospital to the point that we were concerned about patient care. We feel that you guys need to have an honest hearing of what's going on there. Thank you very much.
I work in the emergency department, and there's many issues, but what I want to talk about is what goes on in the emergency department that I feel that you guys should know about. Recently, due to the fact that we've had pay cuts, we haven't been able to really attract a lot of new nurses to our emergency department. And some of the newer graduates that we have attracted have come to our emergency department, and they're supposed to get 6 months of orientation training in the emergency department so they can be proficient in their trade in the emergency department. And recently I've been training some orientees that have only gotten 6 weeks of orientation before they're put on their own, taking care of your loved ones that come and see us in the emergency department. Why do I stay? And it's like she said, it's the community, it's the people that I work with. I've worked there since before 2007. Community Hospital of Long Beach, after 2 o'clock in the morning, we no longer have a dedicated triage nurse that's out there to greet the people that come to our emergency department to determine their severity of distress before they get to be brought back. Also, at that time, who does go out there is the charge nurse who's actually breaking other nurses, so they're watching their patients, and sometimes we have the people from registration called triage, which means that somebody has come in the front and they need to be assessed. So as the nurse, that's the charge nurse that goes out to triage that patient, they have to leave those other patients unattended and have the other nurses watch, and that kind of breaks the law.
Our problem is the hospital hasn't been following the staffing ratio for ER, ICU, heart center, telemetry, and BHU. And after 18 months of acquisition of Long Beach Memorial, the staffing ratio changed, and we're always short-staffed. The ICU team are the one that responds to that, or a code blue team if there's a cardiac or pulmonary arrest. And so the charge nurse has to take over that patient, and we don't have an open nurse to assist us or help us to cover us for breaks, because she's already, she has a patient already. State of California passed this staffing ratio, and I think Memorial, they're breaking the law. And the bottom line, that's why we organized the union, is it's not about money, it's about patient safety. So.
I'm actually going to tell you about how, a delegation of nurses on November 1 actually talked to Miss Diana Hendel to kind of respect our rights to vote or right to have a fair election. Nurses should not fear for intimidation, retaliation. We ask them to not disparage the union, not disparage the supporters of the union. We also ask them not to hire any union busters and instead use it for patient care. I personally, to be honest with you, I'm so afraid. That's why I couldn't. But I have to do this just to kind of help the nurses that are younger than me. I've been a nurse at community hospital for 8 years. I've seen how we are as a family before. It's gone now. The nurses there that are new are afraid of their jobs. They're afraid that they might get retaliation if they even voice out or express a hint of support for the union. I'm just advocating for my patients, my family, the community, and for my profession.
The new grad nurses are not getting adequate training for their job requirements because just 3 miles away at Long Beach Memorial's ICU nurse get 4 months plus a free preceptor watching them. But at community right now, the nurses only have 3 months, and they're already pushing them to take the assignment already when they feel they're not ready. It's that the hospital should have obligations to, cultivate experienced nurse, educated nurse to provide the best care for their clients. And if the hospital does not provide adequate education for their nurses, they're only setting up for these nurses to be failed. And they're too young. 13 years ago, I was a new grad, and someone looked out for me, and I'm looking out for them now. As I left my country 30 years ago with my family. It's a communist country, and I'm here for freedoms, and the other reason is education, higher educations, and I'm still struggling with the same issue at community right now. I hope they listen, I hope they change, and I hope they provide the education that those new nurses needed to further their career and to better the patient care. Thank you.
But I wanted to thank you for coming here and really demonstrating your courage. It's not easy to speak in public. And I want to thank you for your service. You don't need to do very much convincing when you say you are very concerned about patient care, especially when you talk about patient ratio. Ultimately, the outcome is for better patient care to have a manageable ratio. I just want to compliment you and thank you and know that several of us have expressed our hope and interest to the leadership at both hospitals. Actually, thank you for doing what most of us don't have the courage to do. Thank you.
You've got a lot of support from this council, particularly since this body approved the transfer of Community Hospital to Memorial Medical Center for a nominal fee. I think it was our hope that the excellence that they have at Memorial would obviously be continued at Community, and Community has been such an important resource, particularly on the east side of town. And many of us have expressed to the leadership our concern that there not be interference and that you have the legal right to go forward to have your election without any harassment and any fear of retaliation. That you don't do it for the money. You do it because you care, and you're stepping forward to tell us this, especially. But it is very, very scary, and you did a very brave thing. And again, one thing, that's what nurses do. They kind of step up and do the right thing. So I want to thank you.
First of all, I'd like to commend you for making a sacrifice, taking a 3% pay cut and doing work outside of your classifications above and beyond to keep care in our community at Community Hospital. Obviously, I support your right to collectively organize and become a democratic workplace. I think that provides you that opportunity to address many of those concerns that you have without fear of retaliation. And again, I think you all are very brave for even coming before us this evening.
Being in my district, I try to stay away from hospitals, but now I'm going to make myself a little more available to come down and really seriously, just be there and see what's going on. And you guys, I commend you for doing what you're doing. Keep up the good work. There's no price that you don't want to pay for freedom of your rights.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I think a lot's been said, and I think it's all true, and I agree with it all. But, certainly I thank you for your courage. You're educating us tonight. You're sharing your experiences. We need to hear that. We need you behind that microphone so that we know what's going on in our community. I always say, the finest medical communities in America because of people like you. So thank you, and again, for your service. When I think of a nurse, I don't think of someone sitting down. Listen, I'm a teacher. I'm in a classroom all day. I don't sit down. You don't sit down. So thank you for your hard work, and I support your call for a fair election. I guess we got December 6th, I hear, so good luck.